Oh, my name is Miriam Warren, and I'm the Vice President of European Marketing for a website called Yelp. Well, Yelp is a website that connects people to great local businesses. So if you're looking for a fantastic place for Toastskagen, or you want to have a great fika, or you're just looking for a place to shine your shoes, you can find all of that on Yelp. There is a coffee and tea category, but I would say that to be truly local, we probably do need a fika category. So I'll be working on that. So we started in 2004 in San Francisco when our CEO and co-founder was looking for a doctor and couldn't find one. And that's basically when the site was born. We started to build a community in 2005, again in San Francisco, and began to expand from there to places like Chicago, Seattle, Boston, New York, Washington, D.C. And in 2010, we jumped across the pond to the UK and began Yelping in London. You know, I think Sweden just makes a lot of sense for us at Yelp. It's a very forward-thinking country, lots of small businesses, and of course we love that. I think I read a statistic that more than 90% of all businesses in Sweden employ less than 10 people. That's really exciting for us because we love small and big businesses, but I think that small businesses in particular benefit from Yelp to be able to get their message out even if they don't have huge advertising budgets or things like that. Super high internet penetration and a very wide adoption of smartphones, I think, make a perfect confluence of things that we look for when expanding. Well, you know, just like every market, there are certainly sites here taking advantage of user-generated content, local, social, mobile, but we feel like there's nothing quite like Yelp here. And I talk to a lot of Stockholmers who tell me, wow, I used Yelp in the US or other parts of Europe, and I just really need it here. And even in my experiences of moving around Stockholm, I think probably about 5 times a day that if only I had Yelp, I'm pretty sure I'd be able to see even more of the city than I do already. I think, you know, again, that sort of confluence of mobile, social, local is something that we didn't create and we didn't start. It was present before we began. It continues to evolve in lots of different ways. And I think that's probably only good for the consumer in the sense that we're all looking at lots of different sources of information. What I think makes Yelp different is that we have a real community and we've got a massive amount of content, 25 million reviews on the site. And I think that really separates sort of what we do, which is that you're not just reading reviews from any old person, you're reading reviews from real people who are using their real photos and standing behind it with their actual names. And they're also meeting one another in real life. So not only does this community exist online, but we're throwing parties in cities across the world almost every night of the week so that these people can meet each other in real life. Well, the community manager is a big part of it, hiring a local person that really knows the city inside and out and is excited about it. The community manager is the face and voice of Yelp in any particular city, and I think that one of the biggest pieces to success in terms of building a community is having a great person on the ground who can really relate to lots of different people, throw fun parties, and get all sorts of people involved. So, you know, all over town, business owners, Yelpers, and just someone who has a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of energy. Sure, I mean, in Southern Europe, our events last a little bit longer and they start a little bit later. And when I lived in Washington, D.C., they started very early. So, you know, a capital city where people are, you know, often all dressed in suits, events might begin at 5. And in a place like Madrid or Barcelona, they may not start until 9, and people probably wouldn't show up till 10. So certainly I see those things. In Paris, people are obscenely chic at these parties. They mimic the city that they're in. And I think one of the things that's pretty powerful to me is that it's pretty universal. So I'm not fluent in French, but if I turned the volume down at these parties and sort of overlooked how many people were smoking, it could be in any other city in the whole world. And I think that's a big testament to Yelp and its universality. Well, Yelp kind of mimics what our real lives are like, so hopefully most people don't have to see a doctor more than once or twice a year, so certainly we have fewer reviews in categories like that. and we have a lot of reviews in restaurants and bars and shopping because we just eat a lot more than we go to the gym, unfortunately. And so I think you see that a lot in the reviews, but really they represent kind of a lifestyle blog. So if you were to go to someone's Yelp profile and read about what they're reviewing, you'd probably see, you know, a good number of restaurant reviews, and then some on coffee, and some on clothing and shoes and different things like that. And it's because in your everyday life you probably eat 3 times a day, and maybe 2 of those meals are held outside of your house, and you know, your shoes break down, especially in the winter, and you might have to get them shined, and hopefully your car only needs fixing a couple times a year, but you probably have that too. And so when you look at these reviews through an individual's profile, you usually notice that it mimics real life.
Do you know what Yelp sounds like in Swedish?
It sounds like help.
Yeah.
And we say that all, I mean, when I try to explain it to people, I say it rhymes with help. And it really is a synonym, I think, for help, in the sense that Yelp is a very helpful tool. I mean, when I'm without it in a country, I feel lost.
But no one knew about that when Yelp was founded, that it was a specific Swedish word.
Not when it was founded, but as soon as we started talking to people in Sweden, they let us know.
Cool.
And we intend to use it as much as we can. Certainly, I see a lot of encouraging signs just in terms of the first reviews that I've been reading seem to be written all over the city. So I'm seeing things in everywhere from Östermalm to Södermalm to Skeppsholmen. Like it's all over the place, and they're being written by lots of different types of people. And I think when you're seeing that, everything from Asian restaurants to yoga places and random, you know, doctors who administer herbs, it makes me think that there's a lot here for people to write about, and that probably when the site launches, you know, we'll get a lot of great content. We make it a lot of fun. I mean, people who write reviews on Yelp, they get pretty addicted to it. I can speak from personal experience. I started out as a Yelper in 2005 in San Francisco, and I wrote more than 1,000 reviews before becoming an employee. And I can tell you, it's just a lot of fun. And so that's what we'll be working to do, is just show people just how fun it is by you know, writing the reviews on their computers, but also by starting and drafting the reviews on their phones and writing quick tips to remind themselves about where they've been, and allowing them to check in and add photos. I think all of that will naturally lead to the depth and breadth of reviews you've experienced in other countries where we've been longer. You know, what we're really focused on is creating the best local guide for Stockholm. So it's tough to put numbers around that. You know, there's no way for me to quantify for you what it feels like to be able to find right at the drop of a hat a fantastic place for dinner when you're taking someone special out at the last moment. There's no number I can put around being able to get exactly what you're looking for right when you need it. So what I want to do is make sure that people in Stockholm know about Yelp, find it useful, and tell their friends, so that it's something that can just spread all over the place. So we always open the entire country, and we have a database that includes business listings for the whole of Sweden, but we focus a city by city, and so our focus currently and for the foreseeable future will be on Stockholm. Sure. So I mean, we focus a lot on the consumer, and Yelpers are obviously super important to us, and yet we also want business owners to be involved in the conversation. So when Yelp launches here in Sweden, we will have our free suite of business owner tools available to all business owners across Sweden. And those business owner tools include the opportunity for businesses to respond both publicly and privately to any reviews that they receive, to be able to track when their reviews come in, to be able to talk about their business and when it's open, and their website and what their offerings are. And I think it's just a great way to get involved, even if their business doesn't have any reviews yet. I would encourage all business owners to make sure that they're on Yelp, first of all, and then to claim their pages so that they can have control over what's going on the page and photos and things like that. All of those tools are free. They'll be available on biz.yelp.se. They should not solicit reviews, nor should they write reviews for themselves or reviews of their competitors.
But is it okay to have a discount for someone who writes a review?
Not to write a review. It's okay to have a discount, and of course they can utilize things like check-in offers to drive business and get more people to come in and try out what they're offering, but it should never be a kind of tit for tat. If you do this, you know, we'll give you this. Yeah, I mean, I would say just don't waste any time. I mean, get on there, because Yelpers are going to definitely be there as well. So it's good to be in a place, you know, where your consumers are. I think what's interesting to note is that there are a lot of sites out there that have a variety of different uses. So maybe some people go to social networking sites to stalk their ex-boyfriend or look at photos of puppies or babies. People come to Yelp to figure out where to spend their money. So someone isn't looking for a shoe repair on Yelp unless their shoes are broken and they need a repair. And so I think that's important for business owners especially to remember, that you should get your, you know, get in the same place where your consumers are and talk to them from that space. I think the first thing is just do a great business. You know, if you're baking bread, just make the best bread you can and get people in there and sell them your bread. I think that's what you should focus on. I don't think any bread maker or shoe repair person or car mechanic should be so focused on the internet. They probably need to be focused on what they actually do. But in terms of how they should use Yelp, they should first go onto the site and make sure their listing is there, and if it's not there, they should add it. And once they get to it, they should claim their business page, and they should tell us a little bit about who they are. Add a few photos. Let us know that you started your car mechanic shop in 1985 when you realized that you love changing oil. And, you know, people like to hear about that. They love a personal story. And make sure that you let us know when you're open and when you're closed. I can't tell you the number of websites I go to for restaurants that don't tell me when they're open. I'm pretty sure that's one of the most important things you'd want to know.